Today I will do another look at my Arrows RC Tecnam. Let's go outside and get this one up in the air. I have the recommended 3S 2200 mAh battery in this plane. So most of my flights with the Tecnam then is with a 4S battery, not because it's specified to do 4S, it's just that this plane can safely handle 4S and you get a really agile and speedy RC airplane, which I like. I mean, of course I always want to have as much speed and agility as possible, just as long as it at the same time is a well flying and controllable RC airplane. So I'm just trying to do vertiflying with all my RC airplanes just to get a sense how they are, and this one handles really well. It can go low. Just really rock solid flying performance on this plane. And I've been truly impressed with many Arrows plane. One of the favorite ones is the Bigfoot, which is just a fantastic flying plane. I also really dig the Arrows Trekker. I think that the X-Fly planes then, if you compare them to FMS, also make really good offerings, like the Glass Star, for instance, or the Tasman. So just when you have these planes and you kind of start to unpack and put them together, you wonder, are they really made in the same factory? E-Flight, Arrows, FMS, X-Fly, just because they're so similar. But this plane, it's a really sweet, slow flying performance with flaps. It's something I really enjoy to do. Just doing tight figure eights, full flaps, really low, maybe 2 meters above ground. Then going for a touch and go. Just remember to flare a bit. That's because the nose gear on these tricycle gear RC airplanes is the thing that breaks. So if you don't want to break a nose gear, I would certainly just suggest to try the FMS Ranger 1.2 meter plane then, or even I think that maybe the 1.8 also have this great nose gear. Or just pick any kind of a tail dragger. You have the FMS Super Cub 1300 and 1700, really great robust landing gear. But if you want to do a tricycle gear plane, then just be prepared to have during the lifespan of a tricycle gear plane, then do some sort of repair on the nose gear. So if you fly EDF RC airplanes, they are either kind of a small hand launching models, or all of them are tricycle gear. So there are no tail dragger EDF planes in my knowledge, at least. I've seen some kind of a monstrous home-built things, but not available to just purchase in a kind of a plug-and-play or RTF kit. According to Arrows then, this plane is a 3S RC airplane, and if I haven't tried 4S, I would probably just be satisfied with the performance. I mean, it's got a good speed, and it's also, in comparison to many kind of a 1.5 planes, I mean, this is 1450 millimeters, so it's 5 centimeters less wingspan then, but it's a really lightweight for being this size. So that's kind of the upside then of having a uncomplicated models with not many scale details, although you have lights on this plane, and it's modeled after a real plane then, the Tecnam 2010, which is then made in 2010, which is kind of interesting to put the year of the make then in the model number. And you can make really smooth landings, and this plane today then doesn't have to fight any wind, more or less no wind at all. And then I think that just to enjoy your planes, you should really just try to find days where there's good visibility in the sky, a good temperature so you don't have to freeze your fingers, and maybe then also most importantly, very little wind or no wind. Because I mean, sometimes it's just fun to fight the wind, but most often it can be really tricky, and especially then if you have an RC plane that is really robust landing gears and you can bounce around, doesn't really matter, then it's okay. But with tricycle planes, then I would really pick just wind-free days. Really good speed on 3S. So just if you put the forest battery in this plane, the big difference might not be kind of the top speed, but just when you really want to go push things during aerobatic maneuvers, you really get a kind of a instant kick response. So that's why I prefer 4S. So another touch and go then. Now you can make them really smooth. I think when it comes to flaring, just get it down, and if you have a longer runway, just goes down really smooth. You can control it and just touch it down exactly where you want. So in my book then, just an excellent flying plane and handling plane. Of course you can sometimes have sports landings, but so let's go in for the final round then, just get this plane down. Yeah, really smooth touchdown. I think that this plane flies really great. The weak thing then is the landing gear, and especially the nose gear. I think that the landing gears are just too stiff with just too little give on them. So if you kind of just have the the wrong speed and the wrong angle, it will just bounce, but it looks kind of ugly. Reminds me a little bit maybe then of the Pandora, which is kind of a similar size RC plane also, but the Pandora had really hard wheels. I don't think the wheels is the problem with this plane, but there's just too little give, and also the nose gear then is just too vulnerable, which I honestly cannot understand. I mean, just the construction of the nose wheel then is kind of similar to how it is on the E-flite Cirrus SR22T, but I think Cirrus has a more robust landing gear than this plane. Although I did manage to break the servo then for the nose gear on my Cirrus and just had to put a metal gear. So far this one has been holding okay, but that is surely the poorest thing. So I wish for this plane actually would be a tail dragger. That would really make it an even better RC plane. But then again, then it would be kind of almost like the Tasman from X-Fly. So I mean, then you can already just purchase the Tasman, which is a little bit wider wingspan. But also the thing about this plane is that for being this size, then 1400 millimeters, it is, or 1450 millimeters, it is really lightweight. So that really makes that you can fly this one slower, and no problem flying slow. It just behaves so well. It's like flying the MAL M7 from E-flite at 1.5 meter. It's really great slow flying performance. And I also think that even with 3S, it's okay, but when you put the 4S battery inside of this plane, and if you have this plane, I would highly recommend just put a 4S battery. And that doesn't mean that you have to push it 4S all the time, but just the added power makes it so much more fun. So I'm digging this plane. I think it looks way better when you fly it up in there than when you hold it up close. A little bit of boring design, but it's really just a great flying RC plane. So a better design would really help to sell more of this plane. Better landing gears, or even better, just make a tail dragger of this plane and just keep the floats included package. That would really make this one a popular RC plane.